This is Yerushalmi Shabbos in the art scroll of Zvaharadish on Daf Tzadik Rav. The villain on Daf Ayin Dal Rav for starting Perek Shemona Shrotzim. Okay, so the 8 Shrotzim in the Torah, using the Wikipedia translation here. Choled is a mole. Achbar is a mouse. Tzav, spiny-tailed lizard. Anoka, monitor lizard. Koach, agama lizard. Halatah, fringe-toed lizard. Chomet, chameleon lizard. Tinshames, gecko lizard. So, these Shmona Shvatzim Murim B'Torah, says the Mishnah, Hatzodan, if you trap them on Shabbos, V'achiva ben, and you wound them on Shabbos, Chayev. You're liable. So, the Moshe, the Kormei says, V'achiva ben Achenitzor Hadam. They're talking about a subcutaneous wound. In other words, it doesn't pierce the flesh. It collects beneath the flesh. The Yeshlem, or they came to Yeshlem, or since they have flesh, needs hide. Sorry, since they have hide, nitzba, or the hide becomes dyed, D-Y-E-D, with bedama nitzar bo the chay mishum tzoveh. So chay mishum tzoveh because of the hide getting colored from the blood which congeals underneath the hide. Hide and skin are interchangeable, as opposed to flesh, which is something else, right? The basar. So, shar shkatzim mosim, other shkatzim mosim, and the examples given by the carbonated here are worms and snakes and scorpions. Hachova ban potter. The subcutaneous wound is not because they have no hides, they have no real skin, and therefore nothing gets dyed as a result of that wound. If you hunt them down because you have a purpose for their use, you're chayiv. If you're hunting down because they're a nuisance, you want to get rid of them. Potter because Reb Shimon, you're potter because you're not doing it for the same purpose in Mishkan, which to use whatever you caught. Chayav a chaya and an oath which are already in your domain, as we had in the previous parak, in your bibar, your corral, whatever the case may be. Hatzon and potter, they're already considered to be nitzot v'oimed, they're already caught, they're already trapped. V'achol ben chayav, if you wound them, you're chayav because they have hides. Rabbi Zikam Shem Rabbi Yochanan Imi. So the Bnei Moshe says that's his name, Rabbi Yochanan Imi, but the Kikoran takes out the word Yochanan and says Rabbi Zikam Shem Rabbi Imi. That's a whole question of the Mashbiach raising several points where the places whether Yerushalmi has double named Amoraim. In the Bavli, I don't believe we have one. And maybe there's one in the Bavli somewhere, but usually there's no double names. In the Yerushalmi, we have double names several times, but the question is whether it's actually the correct girsa or not. So, it's Pag Rabbi Yochanan Shimon Lakish. Rabbi Yochanan Shimon Lakish and Machlokes Ben Amish. Chayim Ma'divrei Kol once said our Mishnah is going both like Rabbi Yochanan and Ben Nuri and Rabbanan in a Mishnah which we're going to see momentarily. Not so much further down the Omen. And the Chonamar Machlokes, when it says Machlokes, and our Mishnah is only going like Carbon 8 says, Moshe says, or Krabbanan Rabbi Yochanan Nui, the Kama Nami Asi, also goes like Krabbanan, who are Rabbi Yochanan later on. The money on Shabbos Yishloah, they can see on Shabbos it has hide. The other opinion holds our mission is only going to Rabbi Yochanan Nui, not like Rabbanan. We don't know who said what about in this machlekes. Rabbi Zir said, "The first milan rabbanim min milan." Let us infer what the rabbis hold here from their words elsewhere. The Tiniyatim we learned elsewhere. Elu shorasein kibsaron. These animals, their hides are like their flesh, and it means they're metame like their flesh because they have soft hides. Their hides are metame like their flesh. Or Adam, the hide of a human being, for Chazir Yushuv, and the hide of a domesticated pig. Or chazir shabar, also the hide of a non-domesticated pig, I guess a wild boar. Now, the right here is from the Sefer. As Kormeir points out, up or chazir shabar, now the Sefer for or hanoka bakoch. I thought the various bachomet, various different types of lizards. The 8 rodents enumerated, the lizards, etc., have oros. They have hides. So the Rabbi Yochamar lo shana el iser v'tuma. So because it's called lo shem chol shemur o saying kibsarim that the hide is like the flesh. Dafko let li iser also lechol or. It's an iser to eat the hide. Uletuma. The metanka based also metami like the flesh. So see if etmin lachem. These are those who are tamei for you. L'rabo shor saying kibsarim. It's a reboot to teach us that their hide is like their flesh. Avolilkos, but in terms of malchus, im achal eiron, if you ate the hide, ain't lokin. It's not considered to be edible for the purpose of malchus. You're not allowed to eat the hide, but malchus because of achilas nevelos, you don't get malchus, and then because the sofenly skashos, they're going to eventually get tough and hard. That's Kormei. But Moshe says that Ein Lokan Land means that on account of Tumas Nevelos. In other words, that even though that the hide, although the Rabbanan Regozer Tuman it as if it was Basar, that's only the Rabbanan Midoraisa. There's no Tumas Nevelos to the hide. Again, for the same reason, the Kormei says there's no malchus for eating them. Because it's openly skashos, they are going to be tough and since they're going to get tough, so therefore they don't have too much ability to rice, so only midrabanan. Okay, now so according to Rabbi Yochanan, this is going in Rabbanan. So Rabbanan is a tuma, but even Rabbanan agree lilkos. You don't get malchus, whether it's according to the Kormei on Achila or according to the Pnei Moshe on Tuma, or who? The Shemona Shvatim have or. They look at them Mishum Nevela, and there's no malchus because in Nevela, whichever Isna we're talking about, by the or. So even Rabbanan agree, not Rabbi Yochanan and Nuri, that Shemona Shvatim have oros. Rishim and Lakish Amar, no. Mishnah Timo Shana Rebbe, Rebbe was consistent across the board. According to Rabbanan, Ben le'itzer, ben le'kos, ben le'tuma, it's considered like basar for all purposes. In other words, the or of the Shemona Shvatim, according to Rabbanan, is always like basar. It's not independent. Only Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri holds that their hide is separate from their flesh. Okay, so according to Rabbi Yochanan, our mission is Divrei Kol, because Rabbanan also agree that they have or. So certain things, Rabbanan were going to say that since the or is soft, it's like basar. According to Shimon Lakish, no. Rabbanan hold that the Shemot Tzimtzum have no or. It's completely like basar in all respects. So our mission only going to Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri, who says that Shemot Shvatim have or. Okay, Masisim Saiden. We have missions that seem to assist both Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish. Masisim Saiden Rabbi Yochanan. This is fine. Bryce, I think it's a Bryce. Yeah, even though it says Masnisin. We know Yerushalmi Masnisa and Masnisa are interchangeable. Masisim Saiden Shmona Shvatim Yesh Lemoros. The 8 Shvatim have hides. And as Kormei points out, they have hides. And therefore, if you do chaval, the subcutaneous wound is chayav and Shabbos. Therefore, I extend it further, and I say Shemona Shvatim have oros for other things as well, for Isser and Tuma. No, their oros not like their basar, not like you Rabbanan. Okay, that is a raya for Rabbi Yochanan, that even Rabbanan agree that they have or Linot Shabbos. Masiyas Zay b'Shem Elokish. That's the Bryce goes to Shem Elokish. It says Achayva b'Shvatzim as sheyesh lem oros. Some is Chayva b'Shvatzim, the ones which have oros are chayiv. As she'ein lem oros potter, but the ones which don't have oros are potter. And the Moshe says as sheyesh lem oros. Because the ones which are not enumerated in that Mishnah said, Anaka Koch L'Torah, those ones do have Oros. The other ones, which I think are the Cholet Achbar and Tzav, right? Those don't have Oros, right? So the I'm sorry, the other way around. The Choled, the Achbar, the Tzav do have Oros, right? So those have Oros. The ones who don't have Oros are the ones mentioned there. Then you're a potter. I argue on you. All the 8 shvatim have oros, right? So he's saying our Mishnah, which says that shvatim shebetor all 8 hachovim chayev. That's going like Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri, not like Rabbanan. Rabbi Yosef ben Shem Rav said, or who? They have oros. Rabbanan, you just don't get Malchus because of Nevela. Baski Rabbi Yochanan. Rav is going like Rabbi Yochanan. Period. Okay, now we go to a new issue. Hatzad zizin. Somebody who hunts down zizin is the type of worm, says the Korban Eidah. But the Moshe says it's a type of a mosquito. Zvuvin, flies. Hagazin. The Korban says a type of bee or wasp, but the Moshe says type of grasshopper. Yitushin and mosquitoes are chayev. You're chayev on these things. Rabbi Yehuda Poiter. Rabbi Yehuda says you're potter. Rabbi Omer ein chayev el davar shedarko litzod. You're only chayev on things which normally people trap, and the Korban says like kosher locusts, which we're going to eat. Hatzach HaKorban batal potter. If somebody hunts down locusts at the time of the dew, so Korban says shasatel shenem is avros. Their eyes are blinded. It's as if they're already hunted. So you're potter. B'shorav in the sun or in the heat, where their eyes are working and they can get away from you, chayev. He says even at the time of the heat, where they're pouring out. In other words, they're a lot together. It's like all over the place. Potter, you're potter because you're not really capturing them. They're just right next to you. Pretty much says Zumanim Lakachas. They're at hand. Okay. Hatzad Tzvi Chiger, if you trap a deer which is lame, Suma, blind, Chole, sick, Katan, or I guess very immature, Potter, because again, it's not really trapping, it's at hand. Yashin Chayev, but if he sleep, then you can't trap your Chayev. Do Kamitz Chada Pasachada. He opens one eye, closes one eye. In other words, not really sleeping. So therefore, it's a form of trapping. It is a form of trapping, sorry, because it's not really asleep. It's not incapacitated when it's asleep. Rabbi Yana said, Mutar Rogas at Tzir b'Shabbos, allowed to kill a wasp on Shabbos. But Tiny Kane, and we learned in a brayso, Chamish Nerogim b'Shabbos, there are 5 dangerous insects which are allowed to kill on Shabbos. Not just insects, 5 entities. Zvuv Mitzri, an Egyptian fly. Evidently a very dangerous fly. I'm not sure it is. The Tzira, wasp beninve. They're particularly dangerous. Akra she bahadios, scorpion Hadios, V'nachash Eretz Yisrael, a snake in Eretz Yisrael. Evidently, these are locales where they're known to be they're dangerous. A rabid dog anywhere. Ma'aser Shnov V'nachash B'Shabbos. A case happened where a snake fell on Shabbos. V'amad nafti echad v'arago, and Nafti was a Jew, and he was from a place called Nefes, and he killed the snake, and he was criticized. Amar Rebbe said, "Pagabo ke'etzibo." This snake was killed by a snake, meaning that he was a Rosh. He should not have killed the snake on Shabbos. Says Gemara, what do you mean? It's not a snake, not one of those things which is killed on Shabbos. He said, no, you only can kill a snake if the snake is on the warpath, if it's coming to harm you. Tani, Rabbi Yaakov Oimer. Rabbi Yaakov says, which in Yerushalmi is, knows where. If you see a snake is caught within your 4 amos, then you Kosh Baruch Hu is showing you are worthy of death. But Kosh Baruch Hu has rachamim, and says there's erech hapayim here. You have to do tshuva. Shimon said, but it didn't kill them. I'm a ragon. If you did kill them, then lo niro lo ela shargim. We've shown to you, you should kill them. Chomer mim ben kach lo niro lo ela b'schus. If he sees them and he's saving them, Mistami has some schus. And he's not necessarily worthy of death, and therefore doesn't have to do tshuva. And if he kills them, more than more schus. It's like to be misalik, the mazik from the world. Okay, so we have a little bit more out here. Shumazos kol amim. Listen to all the nations. Hazinu kol yesh choled. Listen, hear all those who dwell in choled. And choled here means on earth. But choled is also termed for a mole. Rabbi Achav, Amar, Rabbi Avo, Rabbanan. Rabbi Achav said Rabbi Rabbanan had 2 different interpretations. Chad Amar one said, Lamu Moshe Kobe Elam Chulda. Why all people of the world likened to a mole? Because anything which you have on earth, you have something similar at sea. Harbe meaning biyam, but vice versa is not true. There are many types of species in the sea. We know there are many, many types of marine life, which you don't have on earth. The one thing you have on earth that you don't have something similar at sea is a mole. The other said, I think we're talking about rodents and insects, not about elephants and giraffes. In other words, among those rodents and insects type things, you don't have anything similar to a mole at sea. Chanam said, why? What's the analogy? It drags. It keeps on dragging food. Cormelia says, Abi Sheshlar Baim, because I know Zevis Migro keeps gathering more. Kachim Boyalum, Kermir, Erdam Mes Kati Tabas Biodo. Person keeps on gathering. So again, Machuda says, Gores Manachas, any das Maya Manachas, Manachas gathers much more than these, doesn't know who it's leaving for. Kachim Kobayalum, Gorin and Menichin, they gather and leave, Name Lemi, Menichin, they don't know for whom they're leaving it. Yitzbar, they'll gather, but they will collect, and they don't know who's going to gather what they collected in the end, because it's going to be way more than they themselves need. The Quran says, previous day says, "V'cheldi ka'ay negdecha." I have the midah of the mole. Shani osebli share gathered out limit. All that is not to you. Because the same fate awaits a person and a mole. Does not know who's going to collect them. Okay, so the Not sure he goes on. It says, "V'nicha shebereshko medaber bado v'sof l'loshen nistor chudakai." First, it's talking about the person himself, and then it's talking about the mole. In any event, so the connection is the Yitzbar B'Lieda. Chayav of Shabashuso. Says the Gemara, you have a chaya, an oath in your domain. Hatzvadim potter, if you trap them, you're potter. If you wound them, you're chayav. Lomar el shabashus adam. They're only if they in under your jurisdiction of the person. The ain't bashus adam, and they're not in your jurisdiction. Chayav. Then you're liable. So what does that mean? Our Meir Dharma as teaches shor shemorad. If you have an ox which was rebellious, it's not. You can't impose your will on it. Because Meir says she'enu makabel mogus. Hatzor b'Shabbos chayav. If you hunt it down on Shabbos, you are chayav. From the name of it sounds a little bit, even if it's just untamed, and it's still in your, even though it's in your shus, you're chayiv if you try and hold it down on Shabbos. From the Moshe, it sounds like it actually ran away. He went to the topic of hides. He finished with an interesting look about hides. Abundant concern, Shem Rav said, Shem Rav Avdan said, or of mutich level of mezuzah. The hide of a bird is still considered to be hide. You ride on a mezuzah. Chiddush says, they don't say because it has holes. It's also, as long as the ink passes over it, it's good enough. Okay, that brings us to the bottom of Tzaddik Beis, I believe. So we'll stop here for today.